It's one of those rare cases where if you invested in technology, prices actually went up instead of going down, like a limited edition supercar. But if you haven't bought into it yet, then you're probably going to end up paying a lot more. And the further you wait, the more expensive things are going to get. Today we're talking about the MacBook Pro with the new M5 chips, and we're going to see in our review if the price hike has made a massive difference. Now, we've been using this for about 3 to 4 months for the M5 Pro variant, and let's find out in this review if it's going to be worth your money, the extra money. Let's quickly get started. If you talk about price, which is going to be the massive factor in deciding whether or not you can spend your money on these machines, the M5 base model MacBook Pro, which launched later last year, started at about 1,90,000 rupees, but now starts at 2,40,000 rupees, so a jump of about 50,000 rupees. And if you look at the M5 Pro, that used to start at 2,50,000 rupees and now starts somewhere at 3 lakh rupees, so a jump of about 50,000 rupees, around $500 to $600 if you look at the US price as well, in difference with the price hike. But that is not the only place where the price changes. This machine, as it stands with all the customization, is priced at somewhere around 7 lakh rupees. Earlier it was closer to 5 lakh rupees or just under 5 lakh rupees. Now it stands at around 7 lakh rupees for all the customizations. This is an M5 Pro with a nano texture display with 64 gigs of RAM with 4 terabytes of storage, but you can go further. You can pick an M5 Max, and if you stretch all the options with a larger screen as well, you can cross 12 lakh rupees for just the customizations on the MacBook Pro. So today, you can actually buy a nice SUV like a Creta for under what it costs for a fully loaded MacBook Pro. The choice is absolutely yours. Now, build quality and design, this generation of MacBook Pros has been interesting to say the least. They really went all out, and throughout the generations, this is basically the 5th iteration of the MacBook Pro, they have added a lot of things to the overall features and capabilities, but build has more or less remained the same, and ports and inputs have remained the same. But Apple has improved the hardware, which they don't typically do. It is also rumored that the next generation with the M6 chips will have a redesign as well, and we might finally see the notch go away, which a lot of people don't like. But I personally like the notch a lot, but it's something which is going to be of taste to you, because the notch basically gives you extra space on the side. If you remove the notch, then you lose the extra space on the side. So it wasn't like it was eating into the display. It was more like the additional space on the sides of the notch was extra. So I'm happy with the extra screen space. I don't have complaints about that. Build quality has been robust for this design of the MacBook Pro. The ports are nice, and you have additional ports as well. So you have still 3 USB-C ports now. Thunderbolt 4 ports in the base model, Thunderbolt 5 in the Pro and Max models. You also have a dedicated SD card port. You also have MagSafe. You also have a headphone combi jack as well. So they haven't really compromised on any of these things. And the USB ports also give you things like LAN out. You can also have an HDMI adapter. All of those things still work. So I feel that this is still date one of the most complete newer unibody MacBooks, because it continues to give you a lot of ports and sort of creative flexibility so that you have enough connection options for the go. Now, one of the massive changes that Apple did through the revamps of this generation of MacBook Pro was the addition of this mini LED display. Now, Apple calls this Super Retina XDR display, but it's actually a mini LED display which features ProMotion, so 120 Hz of refresh rate, but it also has impressive 1000 nits of native brightness, and it also has 1600 nits of peak brightness as well. So a really good, and this is a color accurate display as well, P3 color gamut fully supported. So if you pick up the 14-inch, you get a resolution of 3024 by 1964 pixels, and if you pick up the 16-inch, you get 3456 by 2234 pixels. So you get the same sort of retina resolution on both the sizes. For the price, these are basically the best displays that you can get, and this display is available throughout the lineup. So even if you pick up a base model, you get the same display, and even if you pick up the top of the line model, you get the same display. Now for 18,000 rupees extra, You can get the nano texture, and I highly recommend it if you're somebody who's going to be working in a bright environment. This really improves legibility of the screen, and it doesn't affect the colors at all, as you would see on previous generations of textured displays. This is basically the best display that you can buy for a laptop, bar none. Much better than OLED displays, which suffer from burn-ins or color accuracy issues. You may need to calibrate the display, but for this mini LED display, you don't need to do any such thing. And this is a really color accurate, one of the best displays, literally the best display that you can get for a laptop. Now, depending on what variant of the MacBook Pro you get, whether an M5, an M5 Pro or an M5 Max, performance is going to vary. Where I have spent my maximum time with the M5 Pro, I can tell you that there is a massive jump in just the M5 and the M5 Pro. So if you do have that extra budget, I would definitely recommend jumping in for the M5 Pro, because it gives you a lot of benefits over the simple base M5. While the M5 is no slouch, you get additional CPU cores and potentially up to 20 GPU cores, but you also get a dedicated neural processor on each GPU core, which improves the overall graphics and overall performance of this machine, and you will see that in day-to-day usage. You'll also see a massive difference in the memory bandwidth, whereas somewhere around the 150 gigabyte per second is what you get with the standard M5. You can go up to 307 gigabyte per second for the MacBook Pro with the M5 Pro. If you're also doing dedicated AI specific tasks, this machine with the M5 Pro will allow you to go up to 64 gigabyte. If you go for the M5 Max, it'll allow you to go up to 128 gigabyte. Granted, if you jump from just the 24 gigabyte, which comes at base, to 64 gigabyte, you're going to end up spending 120,000 rupees or 1,20,000 rupees, which is basically half the price of the MacBook Pro itself. So memory is going to be really expensive, but if there's any space I would ask you to get customized, that would be the RAM, because that's something that you can't add on to the machine later on. You can still buy external SSDs, even Thunderbolt SSDs, to get fast storage, but you can't add more memory. So I would definitely recommend adding the unified memory versus adding storage. Now, performance you will see across the board as a massive jump. If you had an M4 generation MacBook Pro, you may not see such a massive bump, but it is significantly better in terms of graphics performance. You also have dedicated ray tracing hardware, so if you're into gaming, AAA titles work flawlessly on this, and you can really play games on both the M5 and the M5 Pro. But the M5 Pro just performs better because of that extra processing available on each GPU core, and because of the dedicated ray tracing hardware that works really well with all AAA titles that are now available on Macs, which is just something weird to say, but games work really well. Even on battery life, they work splendid. If you do want more battery life, then the M5 will definitely be better, because out of the 10 cores, 6 cores are efficiency cores. But on the M5 Pro, if you get the 18 core variant, about 12 cores are performance cores and the rest are super cores. So you don't have any efficiency cores on the M5 Pro. Again, for the price, these machines are going to give you performance that you can't match in this price bracket. Today, thanks to all the expensive pricing, even building a PC will not allow you to get the kind of performance that you get with the MacBook Pro. And then also the fact that you get a really nice display, integrated RAM and storage, and just everything works out of the box. This is going to be a better value proposition even at that 3 lakh rupee price bracket. Again, this is going to be for somebody who needs this machine for their specific purpose, whether you're into video editing, whether you're into photo editing, whether you're a hardcore user of your machine and you just want something that works. The MacBook Pro still remains unchallenged, according to me, in terms of the performance to price ratio that you spend on a device like this. Now, whether you go for the base model or the Pro model or even the Max model, another difference is going to be the kind of cooling that you get. So on the base model with the standard M5 chip, you get a single cooling fan. But if you go for the Pro or the Max model, you get dual cooling fans. That will not only improve sustained performance, but also have lesser sound for sustained workloads. So we can run a 32 billion parameter model and create our own custom codes directly on the device without needing server connections, which is impressive to say the least. It'll still work on a base model MacBook with M5, but again, the RAM limitation is going to be there. So you'll have to install a smaller model, but here you can have a very enhanced model, and those are just the things that you'll need to make a decision on. It'll depend on what your use case scenario is for you to decide what machine you want. But if you look at them as a whole, A lot of things are the same. The chassis of the machines is exactly the same. The color options are exactly the same. You can either pick a silver or a space black, and both of them look great. And this color was introduced mid-cycle as well. So the third generation, or the M3 generation, got the space black, and I think it looks fantastic. You get the same ports. The only difference is going to be the cooling. So with a single cooling fan for the M5, dual cooling for the M5 Pro. And then of course the difference is going to be in battery life, where M5 will give you slightly longer battery life, but the M5 Pro will give you slightly less. But the battery life is still really good for somebody who's using this laptop as an occasional or just about an hour a day for internet or whatever. And you can easily use this for around a week before even thinking about wanting to recharge the battery. Another thing that a lot of people sort of overlook is the fact that if you pick up a MacBook today, even considering the higher price, this machine will easily last you 5 to 6 years. The quality of the battery, the quality of the materials, the display, everything is top-notch for today. And Apple will continue to provide software updates and the latest features to this machine for the next 5 to 7 years. So if you buy a machine today with the quality of materials that are here and the kind of build and construction there is, you will find that you will not need an upgrade. A lot of people that we recommended the MacBook Pro M1 generation to are still using the M1 generation and have no complaints as far as performance or usability. And some of these people use their machines for really heavy tasks like video editing, but they are still happy. I, in fact, was using an M1 Ultra Mac Studio for the longest time, and I recently upgraded to the M3 Ultra, and I see a massive jump, but the M1 Ultra didn't feel slow in any way. So if you're somebody who's picking up a MacBook Pro today, you will find that it'll last you for a really long time as well, and it might end up being a really good investment considering prices are still going up for a lot of things. And as far as performance is concerned, I don't think there is any machine that can match the MacBook Pro today for all that you get on this device from the get-go. Now, the only downside for this is going to be that fact that some traditional apps that are available on Windows may not work on this, but you have workarounds for mostly everything. Because Macs have become really popular and really common now, you do have workarounds for a lot of things. And the other real downside is going to be the price, because the entry price is fairly high for a lot of people, and this might end up being an investment. But if you have an option to get your GST inputs or pick it up on education pricing, you can get free AirPods plus some discounts, probably pick it up on a payment plan if you can afford a payment plan, and then you can get a really good machine if you need it. Well, that's our review. If you liked it, smash like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.